Please welcome on stage, ladies and gentlemen, the leading new age entrepreneur Harsh Jain in a fireside session with Nikunj Dalmia.
You know, when you have to wrap the last session with cricket and money and entrepreneurship, well, you can expect the best in terms of understanding and best in terms of cricket. So Harsh needs no introduction, but from an unknown company to an unforgettable brand, it's just incredible to see what Harsh has managed to create. You know, I've gone through your wonderful journey, Harsh. And what was more like a idea which you discovered in a pub of fantasy sport, you've made it in real empire. How did the idea start? What motivated you? And why is that you never decided, like ek Indian hota hai na, bhai papa ke business mein jana hai. That never happened.
Yeah, so thanks for having me here. Well, the idea started actually in 2001 when I went to Sevenoaks in London for my high school. And I was a big Manchester United fan. Any Manchester United fans here? Any football fans? Oh, well, finally a good season after 10 years. So
I'm Liverpool fan. I'm going to ask you a tough question. I don't
then
like Man U.
I might.
I'm telling you
I
right
think we
now.
have to end the session here. But actually, you know, Liverpool fan, it's great to talk to you guys this year. How's it going?
The tough questions are coming next.
Okay. So, you know, in 2001, being a Manchester United fan, I went to Sevenoaks and I fell in love with this new thing I learned there called fantasy football. And I was playing it, you know, for about 6-7 years until I came back to India after my engineering. And that time there was a league starting up. For the first time, cricket had a league. And that was the Indian Premier League, the IPL. And so I told all my friends that, you know, we love fantasy football so much. Let's go play fantasy cricket. Or tha hi nahi. So I don't know if you all remember Super Selector. So we all love Super Selector back in the day. Perfect example of right product, bad timing, right? And at that point we said that no, India with 1 billion cricket fans has to have fantasy cricket. So we didn't do any research, we didn't do any, you know, we did basic research that, okay, 1 billion cricket fans, a couple 100 million online, huge in the US and UK mature markets of sports, so it has to work here. And we just launched, right? We just went for it. And only one of my friends was foolish enough to join me. He's my co-founder today, Bhavit. And, you know, we just started. And went around asking people for advice. Is this a good idea? Everyone told us what a horrible idea it was. And then I didn't, you know, they all said, go join Papa's business. Itna acha business hai, ye chhod ke, ye sab fantasy mein kyun lag rahe ho? So he said, nahi, karna hai. I was 22 years old, so I had a license to kill. Yeah, I had all right to say, nahi, I'll start my own thing. Family was very supportive. And so we started. And that's how we started. And just like everyone else said, it was a horrible idea. And it crashed and burned. Like for the next 3-4 years, we watched as the idea was just a terrible idea and didn't work. And then we pivoted in 2012 to what you see today. And that's when Dream 11 started working.
So after you started burning, what did Papa say and what did Mummy say?
So it's a funny story that, you know, when I started, I was a 22-year-old and I was a spoiled brat, born with a silver spoon. So I went and asked my dad that, you know, there's this fantasy sports, I want to do it. So he was to his credit, he was very progressive and said, no, you must do entrepreneurship, try it out. It was a win-win, right? Yeah, either I go, try something out and kuch ban jata hai, or I go, I fail and I learn how to actually ki mehnat karni padti hai, you know, to build something. So I asked him for 2 crores. So you're like, hey, why do you need 2 crores? to start up, start with 50 lakhs and all, and I was like, nahi chahiye. You know, this is how much you need to start. And finally I got my way. So I got 2 crores. My first employee I hired was for like 40 lakhs. As a 22-year-old engineer, I didn't understand P&L really well. So I hired this guy for 40 lakhs. He comes on board and he says, 2 saal mein to salary mein hi kharcha ho jayega. So where's the rest of the money to fund it? So then I went back to my dad after 1 month and said, now we need 10 crores. So at that time he threw a fit, obviously. He said that you don't have responsibility about how much you're taking. And after a long drawn battle, my mom stepped in as a peacemaker. Except that she said that, dekho, you know, I'm sure most of you all understand like Marwadi moms and the love for a son for a Marwadi mom. And she said, ek hi to beta hai. 10 crore de do na. So that was how we got our first round of funding. And we got the 10. But yeah, that's, unfortunately a tough lesson that my dad was right and everyone else was right. And we learned the hard way. But that also taught us to value money. And I never agreed to go back and raise a single penny from dad and the family, and we made it somehow.
What I understand is that initially the words which you got every time you made a pitch was not a great idea. It is a terrible idea. It is a horrible idea. It is not fit for India. You walked every alley and you walked every lane and you were rejected more than 15 times.
150 probably.
150 times, okay, I remember 150 times, but that never stopped you.
No, I think that's why, my biggest advice to other entrepreneurs is also find a big problem that you are truly passionate about, that personally means a lot to you, and try to solve that, because it is going to be extremely hard. Sometimes maybe you're in a hot sector and your first round is very easy. But then the following path is very likely to be, bumpy. And I think for all entrepreneurs, if you take a 10-year journey, it's a very bumpy ride. And unless you are truly, deeply passionate about it, you can ride the highs, but you won't be able to survive the lows.
So what kept you going? Was it passion? Was it belief? या फिर जिद थी कि भाई करना है?
नहीं, जिद थी. I mean, it was passion, and उससे तो जिद आती है. And it was also like kind of proving, you have a chip on your shoulder, right? Now, itna ladke, you took 10 crores and you burnt it all. And then I wasn't going back and saying that the whole world is right. Everyone was right. So we're like, kuch bhi karke, we have to figure it out. So we started a digital agency on the side, learned how to do servicing, learned how to sell to people, learned what is credit and debit on a P&L, learned what is a balance sheet, and then figure out how to actually build a company. Once we did that, and then we pivoted Dream 11 to what you see today, and that started working. We sold the digital agency and put that money, we got 10-15 crores for that, and then put that back into Dream 11, and then that became our next round of funding.
Okay, so 10 crore रुपया मम्मी पापा ने दे दिया.
जी.
But आज की valuation तो $10 billion है.
थोड़ा सा कम, but हाँ.
थोड़ा सा कम $10 billion हो जाएगी. पर 10 करोड़ को 10 बिलियन बनाना कितने जीरो होते हैं कोई काउंट करेगा? रुपी को क्या पकड़े?
अभी ये फॉरेक्स एक्सचेंज रेट है तो छोड़ो ना.
फिर अभी काउंट करते 80 पकड़े?
सॉरी?
रुपी को 80 पकड़ते हैं जी थोड़े. तो काउंट करें?
नहीं.
How did it happen? That is the interesting part.
I think it happened because India, look, I think the most, having done this for 15 years, I think persistence, tenacity is a big part of founders' journeys. Just hang in there and keep going and you will get your chance. Usually you get that one chance everyone gets at some point to catch a wave. Now you have to keep pivoting to find that wave and find that chance. But I think we've been fortunate to be there when the Indian internet industry started to take off, when the Flipkarts of the world trained the Indian population to spend online, when the UPI came in and really helped everyone to pay online, when Jio came and powered everyone's data consumption, and when Hotstar went and bought the rights for cricket streaming and made cricket online for free. for the first time. We've been fortunate to carry on the, ride on the tailwinds of a lot of these things that have happened. So I think if you hang around enough, you will catch a wave. But you have to catch it at that time. And that's what we've kept doing, fortunately. And you have to have a large TAM. If you have, investors often talk about team and TAM as the most important things, right? Team, obviously the people. TAM as a total addressable market. If you have a large addressable market, you can go wrong. You can be wrong a few times. And it's very forgiving. If you have a small market, if you go wrong, it's a death knell. So we were targeting the Indian cricket population, which is as large a TAM as you can get.
Now, you've used the word entrepreneurship is first identifying the problem,
right,
solving the problem,
yes,
using leverage to your advantage, and giving a better experience. अब क्रिकेट खेलना तो प्रॉब्लम थोड़ी है, वो तो एंजॉयमेंट है.
yep.
योर साउंड आप बोल रहे हो क्रिकेट की प्रॉब्लम देखने की प्रॉब्लम मैंने सॉल्व करी. So what was that problem which you were able to identify, which no one, we cannot see?
So there's different ways to look at a problem, right? Like buying at the kirana wala was also not a problem, but then we have e-commerce. Paying with cash wasn't a problem, but then now we have UPI and digital payment instruments. It's about convenience. Now, in this case, in our case, cricket you could watch, but for 50 years, people have just transacted one way with cricket, right? With sports in India. You would either listen to cricket on the radio, then we went to black and white TV, then we went to color TV, then we went to the mobile phone, but it's just one way. Where's your engagement? Now we live in a country where it's amazing, right? You talk to your taxi driver, you talk to your staff at home, you talk to your boss, you talk to your family, and everyone will tell you, वो last ball पे ना जडेजा को ऐसे मारना चाहिए था in this last IPL final, and धोनी आया first ball पे ऐसे नहीं मारना चाहिए था, he had to hit a ground shot. And why did this person go opening? Why? Everyone has an opinion in India on cricket. We just found a problem that people want to engage with sports in a much deeper way, two-way engagement. And fantasy sports allowed you to do that.
Let's look at what is the path ahead for fantasy sports now, both in terms of regulatory and in terms of judicial.
Sure.
Couple of years ago, there was this whole gray area, skill, chance, skill, chance. Do you think now the rules and the regulations are clear, and you think you can grow with the existing, law of the land?
I think for the longest time, the judiciary has been very clear about skill and chance. Games are defined in India as games of predominant skill or predominant chance. So the minute you have predominant chance, they are betting and gambling. If they have predominant skill, they are legal and protected by the constitution as a business, regular business. Fortunately for us, the courts have ruled in our favor when someone took us to court, saying that this is betting and gambling, and courts ruled up right up to the Supreme Court, I think about 6 or 7 times now, that every single time the court ruled that Dream 11's format is a game of skill, not chance, and protected by the constitution as a regular business. So I think judiciary has always been clear about that. And that's helped us grow. Today, now that the industry has grown so much, we are very thankful that, in fact, Minister of State Rajiv Chandrasekhar he was just here talking about how the internet has led to, under his watch, been treated as open, progressive, safe, trusted, accountable. They've also looked at, for the first time, regulating online gaming. This has been a really important aspect for us. We've been asking for regulations forever. And we are very, very happy that this government is taking that forward step to regulate gaming, right from the Honorable PM saying that India can be a gaming superpower, leading up to regulations now coming for online gaming, will only propel gaming in the right way forward. In every industry, there are good actors and bad actors. I think it's very good for the government to come and carve out regulations to separate that and to protect the Indian consumer. Today we have 20 crore Indians just on Dream 11 that are playing.
20 crore
20 crore Indians, all 18 and above. So it's a sizable population that needs to be protected in the Indian gaming ecosystem from user harm. So we welcome regulations and we look forward to them.
A very basic question, which is that where, to your mind, is the twist in terms of the GST and what will be the impact of that on the entire gaming industry?
Well, I think for, right from service tax till today, for those that, talk about a business model so you understand, we allow people to play either for free or for money. The money part is, because it's a game of skill, it's allowed by the Constitution of India as a regular business and protected by law. It is permitted as not gambling and betting. And so, if you play for free, then obviously 80% of our 20 crore users play for free.
India mein free zaruri hai.
Correct. वो तो करना ही है. For those 20% people that play for money, we take, let's say, 2 people are playing for 50 rupees. And you and I make our teams. So the platform keeps 100 rupees, out of which 85 rupees is kept in escrow for the winner. So whichever one of us makes a better team and wins, 85 rupees will go to, let's say you win. 85 rupees is already going to you. 15 rupees is kept by the platform as a service fee. On that is our revenue. We pay 18% GST, which we've been paying even service tax on that for a decade now. I think the GST Council is looking at making the regulations, the GST on gaming a little more clear. And I think we welcome any GST rate that comes on our revenues. There was some discussions at some time ago about potentially going on GST on our top line, which is the total 100 rupees, which means that we would make 15 rupees and we would have to pay out 28 rupees, which is just, will basically make the business model unviable. So I think there's some clarity expected on GST, but I believe GGR is worldwide accepted in every jurisdiction as the way to take GST forward. So we hope that that's the outcome.
आखिरी 2-3 सवाल, ठीक है? अब खाने का टाइम भी हो रहा है, सबको भूख लग रही है. तो you became technically a billionaire before 40. Gordon Gekko said that every man on Wall Street is chasing a number. So what is the number you're chasing for? What is the number for Harshya?
The number was actually 100 crores. To be very honest, as a 22-year-old, when I started the company, I had this goal, right? 100 crores means I can buy a Bombay flat. I never need to, flats are expensive in Bombay. Delhi, I
want
know.
you to buy 100 crore flat?
No, don't want to buy 100 crore flat. Yeah. It's a flat, not a mahal nahi kharid raha hu. But at that point, I just wanted to buy a flat and I wanted to be able to live my life the way I wanted forever without having to have any work or do anything. As a 22-year-old, this is kind of the thought, yeah. And I think that was my number. I passed that some time ago. But after that, it's not about the number, right? We are working now to build value, to solve problems. I don't think I have a number. And I think Gordon Gekko ended up in jail, right?
Where is Dream Sports or Dream 11 headed now? I mean, because now you are going beyond just your core suit, which is fantasy sports. You're acquiring, you are investing. 5 years from now, hypothetically, if we are engaging in a similar conversation, IEC 2028, what do you think we would be discussing?
Sorry, could you repeat what?
Hypothetically, after 5 years, if you're engaging in a similar conversation, IEC 2028,
right,
what do you think hypothetically we would be discussing?
We would be discussing how the Indian digital economy has grown way past the $1 trillion mark that the Honorable PM has put, and how digital sports has hopefully played a large part in that. And I hopefully will be discussing about how the Indian sports ecosystem has now developed to allow all of us to be able to not just watch the IPL online, but to watch Ranji, to watch Harris Shield, to watch Syed Mushtaq Ali, to watch badminton, kho-kho, volleyball, basketball, hockey, to be able to buy your favorite team's merchandise online, their t-shirts, to have fan clubs. That we'll be talking about NFT sports, we'll be talking about esports. There's an entire sports ecosystem that we haven't developed. Right now, sports is amazing, but for cricket. And I think cricket still accounts for maybe 95% plus of our Indian sports revenue. And while cricket is this, amazing trajectory that keeps growing, even this year IPL viewership has gone up by 30%. 30%! That's larger viewership actually than most countries. Just the delta is larger than most countries. I think that we have to do a lot of work to increase the depth and breadth of sports in our country.
So last two questions. You are a profitable company. When you were, in a sense, scaling up the business, the mantra was cash and burn and grow. Everybody was borrowing capital from VCs and they were growing their business. You followed a different approach. You were profitable 3 years ago and you're profitable now and you're growing. Where does the entire profitability matrix fit in for you? Was that the Marwadi genes?
100%. It's a Mardu genes, and like I said, once you run out of money, you figure out that you don't want to ever have that ever again, right? When we ran out of our first round of funding and had to run a servicing business on the side to make money and, if you may, keep the dream alive, if you excuse the pun, you don't want to ever end up like that again. So I think even though when we raised our series A, B, C, D, etc., that was a long time ago now, every time we raised money, we made sure that we'd reached to, the business got to self-sustenance. We always live by the fact that funding cannot be for sustenance. It can only be for growth. And after you finish your burn period, the business has to be able to pivot to a profitable company. So I think that's the trajectory we've always followed. But if you put a Marwadi and a Gujarati, my co-founder is Gujarati, you put a Mardu and Gujju as founders, you're going to be able to run a profitable shop, hopefully.
So my final question is, अब पापा क्या कहते हैं? पापा क्या कहते हैं? I mean, पापा का business कौन संभालेगा?
पापा कहते हैं बेटा नाम करेगा. No, but I think my dad has been extremely supportive, and he's told me that, go live your dream and do what you want. And if there's a large business, then I think there's a lot of ways. Even if you have a family business, you can professionalize it. And if there's value to be created there, then you can do it through that. Your kids, I would never want my kids to forcibly do what they don't want to do. I think we work hard so that our kids can do whatever they want to do.
Which is one word you think describes your journey? Is it grit? Is it passion? Is it hard work or luck?
I think just grit. Because everyone gets lucky and you have to have good timing and you have to get lucky with timing. But if you're gritty and you work hard enough, you'll find some time when you can double down on that luck.
All I can say, Man U got lucky this year. Liverpool will come back next year.
We'll see.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.